Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank each and every one of you right now. No, kidding. Good evening, everyone. Kamala Harris reportedly consulted Hillary Clinton multiple times on dealing with her crushing loss in the 2024 election, which gave both their husbands time to go out and bang some whores. Harris reportedly asked Hillary for advice on what to do after losing to Trump. Well, you know what always cheers me up when I'm feeling down, said Hillary? Murder. And then disguising it as suicide. Philadelphia Mayor Cheryl Parker is being mocked by sports fans for her inability to spell the word Eagles. When asked to spell the 76ers, she said, "I can't do math either." As you already know, Trump has declared that there are only two genders. But if you're confused about which gender you are, one man volunteered to take a look. I can get 2 cigars in there. Kamala Harris has established a new company called Pioneer 49. She says it's a combination of her Secret Service code name and the number of states there are. Oscar nominations were just announced, huh? As usual, Nancy Pelosi's face is favored to win for Best Special Effects. Spirit Airlines has introduced a new dress code for passengers that will ban skimpy outfits. Guess it means you're flying Frontier, Larry. Fly high, cud low. According to a new study over the past century, men have increased in size twice as fast as women, with one exception. Too easy, but accurate. And in case you're wondering, it's still freezing in New York City. It's so cold, even the chalk body outlines in the park are shivering. Ex-Politico reporters revealed that editors would deliberately kill any stories that were negative about Biden. Current Politico reporters have been told not to report this. Trump signed an executive order declassifying the files on the assassinations of MLK. Applauding assassinations, that's novel. But the assassinations of MLK, RFK, and JFK. Still no word on who killed ALF.
He's dead.
Yes.
Kate, Willie.
In his crackdown on illegal immigration, Trump's ICE raid has turned up a number of suspected pedophiles, which will no doubt delay Hollywood's summer blockbusters.
Good point.
Scientists have created an artificial tongue that uses AI to detect food spoilage and contamination. The tongue can also detect very lonely scientists. Doge wants to stop minting pennies, arguing it costs 3 cents to produce a 1-cent coin. But without pennies, a few critics wonder how they'll be able to tip their waitress. Actor Benedict Cumberbatch revealed that while filming a show in South Africa, he was kidnapped by 6 men and bound for hours. Where do I sign up? Asked one man. Still a punchline. The unemployment and the punchline. As you know, President Trump announced that the Gulf of Mexico will be renamed the Gulf of America, but also adds that Mexico will be known as Diarrhea Land. I'd definitely go to that amusement park. And finally, here's an odd story. A teen was busted by his angry mom for waiting in line to have sex with a porn star. She said, "Wait till your father hears about this. He's in the back of the line." All right, to the monologue. So in his first week, we saw Trump fulfill 46 promises in roughly 24 hours. That's 2 an hour, give or take a few. And just as a comparison, the only thing Biden did twice an hour was pee. So Trump hit the ground running while Biden just hit the ground. Face first. Trump's actions include giving DHS and Border Patrol the green light to deport illegals, eliminating DEI from all government programs, ending remote work for federal employees, designating 2 and only 2 genders, i.e. protecting women's sports, and of course, releasing the assassination files. So was this hard? Not at all. It was easier than beating Stephen Hawking in a game of Twister.
What, you thought he was good?
And why? Well, I bet Trump sees them all as all solvable problems.
They're
all solvable problems.
I agree.
They're all solvable.
Not easy.
With time, effort, money, unfortunately. But they're all solvable problems. We can get our country back. But if we didn't win this race, I really believe our country would have been lost forever. I think we got there just in the nick of time.
You know, he's right. The problems are solvable if you view them as problems. This is why they weren't solvable under Democrats. They were not problems to them, but eggs they were willing to break to make their toxic omelet. The Dems did nothing about the gangs or crime or other obvious stuff because they lost the ability to admit something was wrong. Why would they miss such obvious fixes? Maybe because the problems were part of the plan? And in some cases, not solving a problem kept their so-called problem solvers in business. The race baiters, the climate hucksters, the DEI department heads. If they preserved a problem or made it worse, then you couldn't get rid of them. As long as we had racial divisions, Al Sharpton got paid. As long as John Kerry spoke of the dangers of CO2, he could fly private around the globe, spewing more noxious gases than Jerry Nadler in the Capitol men's room.
Jesus.
After a bowl of bad clams.
Okay.
And why was America first so hard to understand? Perhaps they heard, oh, America is better than everyone else, and that pissed them off. But America first doesn't put the country above others, any more than putting your family first means it's better than other families. It's just the top priority. This could be why liberals are hated by their kin. They'd rather save the smelt than visit grandma. And now both Republicans and Democrats look at what Trump is doing and they think, wow, this wasn't that hard. Why didn't this happen before? Well, because either they didn't want it or didn't have the balls to do it. Now we got a guy who does. But the ease at which these changes are accepted, it speaks to the degradation of a country previously under no leadership. Trump's effectiveness mirrors in scale and scope the absolute treasonous desertion of presidential duties by the Biden White House. In a way, Trump's got it easy. With a Biden White House so callow and inept, the problems it created, although vast and serious, were actually easy to correct as long as you're normal. For Trump, following the Biden administration is like following your dog with a pooper scooper. How ironic, the person the media deemed irrational, even nuts, is doing the things every sane person needs. But we've been gaslit so long that normal seems crazy. So in this case, the inmates should be running the asylum. And so all of Trump's actions are obvious, just free money on the table to be scooped up by the one guy who saw it sitting there. It makes you wonder, how long would this descent into madness have continued if Kamala had won? You know, right now she'd be trying to get an illegal on death row, a pair of fake on the taxpayer's dime. So it's like America was driving down the road with its tires completely worn down, sparks shooting out of the rims with Joe, Jim's his brother, asleep at the wheel. Democrats pretended not to notice, but Trump jumped in, grabbed the wheel, and pulled the car over just in time. So when the media describes Trump's actions on crime or the border or federal workers as a crackdown, it's not. It's a correction. And that makes the crimes of the previous administration so much worse. They had the chance to follow the law. They didn't. So it wasn't just a failure of common sense. It was a failure of will. And that inaction should never be forgotten. But they should be. And the only thing we need to remember is never to vote for them again. She hosts the bottom line when she's not smuggling moonshine. Fox Business anchor Jacob McDowell. He's like Rosie Perez, except his name is Lou. Comedian Lou Perez. Her points are profound and her belly's round. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Cat Tube. And he flosses with a live python. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion Tyrus. Dagan, I think that, for one thing, it seems like Trump has filled the space of all politics by doing this, by doing all of these executive actions. But I keep thinking the presence of Trump tells you what the absence was. Like all of these, nobody's coming out against these actions because they all make sense. And they're so obvious. We're just following the law. So it tells you what was missing. Right?
There's even virtually no pushback with the ICE raids.
Yeah.
You've heard almost no left-wing caterwauling about, dangerous rapists and murderers who should not be in the country being arrested and sent out of the United States. But it's after the pathological dishonesty of Joe Biden and the incompetence and the sadism, and not the fun kind, the cat o' nine tails sadism, that it makes what Trump is doing so astonishing, that he is honoring his promises in just a matter of days, each and every one. And that goes against really humankind, politician kind, and certainly any man I've ever known biblically. Morning of, I'll call you later. Nothing. Or, I'll take you somewhere nice for your birthday. Dave & Buster's. I don't like going to eat places where everything's sticky.
Yeah. I remember I went out on a date and I took her to Dave & Buster's. It was two guys I knew down the street. R.I.P.
I'd just like to say for the record, I like Dave & Buster's.
I do too.
It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
A lot of games to play in there, Lou. Some of these actions are immediate, but some, it's going to be a challenge to undo a lot of the consequences. Like the DEI stuff. There are people that are hired now. You can't fire them. You can get rid of the office, but you can't get rid of the hires.
Yeah, it's really interesting because when the Democrats were in control, it was basically ruled by executive order. And it's like they didn't think hey, in 4 years, we could be ruled by or overruled by executive order. And with a lot of these, I'm a fan of a lot of the executive orders. The one that I have a problem with is recognizing the gender, male and female, because that means that now it's illegal for me to use the women's restroom. Or a women's prison. And it's just, and I just feel like I'm being erased, in a way like that.
Have you ever used a women's bathroom? It is unusual, isn't it? It's often dirtier than you think.
It is, and I go with...
It's way dirtier.
Yeah.
It's so disgusting. Just sit, ladies, just sit. If you would sit, we all could sit.
It's a terrible place for a date.
Yes.
That's
the worst.
That's my campaign slogan.
Yes.
Stop the spray.
Yes. With the bathrooms actually should be split into sit and not gonna sit. Because I am so sick of cleaning up other people's piss.
Yeah.
It's also not good for your bladder, so clearly you only care about yourself. Then if you care about your bladder, you should sit.
All right, well, I'm glad we covered that.
No,
Kat, I'm going to ask you about these. assassination documents.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, how are we going to find out, where are they going to be released? And will they be so redacted?
That's the thing.
Like JFK was killed by redacted.
Yeah. That's the thing is I am excited about it, but it's like I'm excited about it in the same way that I always get hosed getting excited about when I see a trailer for a season of the reality TV that I watch.
Right.
Because I'm like, this looks juicy. I'm so excited to see this drama. And then you realize it's been like edited in such a way that you're not even get to see any of the good stuff.
Yeah.
So am I excited? Yes. Do I think I'm going to be disappointed? Yes. I will say though that I'm very pleasantly surprised that he did the free Ross.
Yeah.
He actually did. I mean, he didn't do day one, but it was pretty damn close. And I wasn't really sure he was going to actually do that. And
Yeah.
I think that's really awesome.
I can't believe that guy got like multiple life terms. I didn't read enough about what was the website?
Silk Road.
Silk Road. I don't know enough about it, but like basically they were saying he was guilty of everything that people did on that
On the
site.
website, which
Yeah.
that should never be the case, and it isn't with other things.
Thank God, because my website, people do terrible things on there. You know, Tyrus, what kills me, I think that like a lot of these executive orders, specifically the immigration ones, they're not new. They're just enforcing existing laws. So it's no wonder like people are going, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Well, no, what they're trying to do is I watched a lot of the so-called pundits from the Democrats like, oh, we were doing that. Oh, yeah, we were doing that. And, you know, and one guy was like, oh, big deal. You arrested 350 murderers and pedophiles and rapists. There's, you know, what about the 10 million other illegal aliens that didn't do anything wrong? And it's like, stupid, say what you just said again.
Yeah.
They broke the law. Like their pushback is different because they haven't found the way yet to connect this to Hitler.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, they need one deportee to get to the line of Mexico and be like,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, ha ha, Hitler. So they just haven't found a way. They don't have the skill set. It's not their fault. Their best and brightest couldn't speak or remember. So it's going to take them a while before they can come with an opposition. And it's hard when the people around you are like, man, I'm going to sleep a lot better tonight knowing that in my neighborhood, the 16 wanted murderers and rapists are no longer going to be here. And they're like, well, yeah, but a misogynist is the one who arrested him. This is why you're not allowed in my yard. Yeah.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.